House of the Dragon is an American fantasy drama television series, an independent prequel of the Game of Thrones series from 2011 to 2019. It is the second show in the franchise created by George R.R. Martin. Based on parts of the novel Fire and Blood, the series is set about 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones and 172 years before the birth of Daenerys Targaryen. Welcome back to DMR. Thank you for tuning back in. Much obliged. How are you? Hope you are well. So this will be the podcast version and the YouTube version for the much anticipated House of the Dragon Game of Thrones review. So it's been a little while since I've uploaded a review to the YouTube forum, but I have been very busy with the DMR podcast, which is on all the major platforms. So you can see this little symbol right here. Look it up, subscribe, rate. We've got plenty of 5-star reviews in the USA and here in Australia. Plenty of written reviews, which is fantastic. So thank you for that. And we've also got some massive news as well in a little while. We've basically downloaded 21,500 downloads for the podcast. It reached number 8 in the top 10 for film and TV on Spotify back in August. So we're very pleased about that as well. And the massive news is that the DMR podcast is now sponsored by the international best-selling male grooming products being Manscaped. So if you haven't checked out Manscaped's range, it is absolutely incredible. We do have a very special promo for Manscaped, 20% off when you add this code into the Manscaped website, which is Dewey20. So that's Dewey20. You can see it here on the screen. Head on over. The Performance Package 4.0 is amazing. So let's have a bit of a look at the product and we'll continue on with the show thereafter. Support for Dewey's movie reviews is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched their ultimate men's hygiene bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping when you use the code Dewey20 at manscaped.com. The Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped has arrived and it's seriously a game changer. So you don't have to be like Steve Carell in the 40-year-old version anymore.
Sweetie pie hole! Como se llama? No! Kelly Clarkson!
Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all of your goodies. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, dare I say, and the greatest below the waist trimmer ever. I'm blown away by the performance and the craftsmanship of this trimmer. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 4000K LED spotlight when you need a more precise shave. Because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to that mess in the bathroom, and I'm sure your partner is going to be grateful for it, so you can now walk around looking like Gerard Butler in 300. So you thought that was good, but do you want to take your grooming game even further to the next level? The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps reduce nicks, snags and tugs in all those delicate nose holes. The Crop Preserver deodorant and Crop Reviver below the waist toner will change the way you approach your daily hygiene routine. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts in the Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped boxes and the Shed travel bag, so you can bring your comfort and boxes anywhere you go. So now it's time to take care of yourself. Get 20% off and free shipping worldwide with the code DEWEY20 at manscaped.com. This is a huge saving for the world's most high quality products. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job at Manscaped. A massive thank you to Manscaped for providing DMR with these game-changing products. Now it's back to the show. So there you have it, Manscaped. Be sure to check out all that gear. It is phenomenal. It just arrived here in the mail. Absolutely love the gear, so be sure to check it out. So House of the Dragon Season 1 Game of Thrones. This is a much anticipated show. So obviously everybody around the world, massive fans of Game of Thrones. It was been brewing up for a number of years, the better part of a decade. We had Season 6, I think it was in 2021 when it ended. Spoiler alert, we had Daenerys Targaryen basically ripping apart King's Landing, going after the Queen. She went absolutely Billy Bananas. She could have chosen not to do so. However, she basically ripped everything apart. Jon Snow knew that the only way that he could stop her, the Mad Queen, was to basically kill her. And unfortunately, that's what happened in the end of Game of Thrones. So there's been a lot of controversy around how that season wrapped up. I personally feel they could have drawn it out, maybe another 2 or 3 episodes. Take your time with ending a show. A lot of shows don't know how to end their own existence basically when they get to a certain level. There's only been a couple that have pulled this off successfully, being The Sopranos, and again, even that ending in itself was a bit controversial. I myself like that ending. And then you've got Breaking Bad as well with Walter White. So House of the Dragon is set 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones, and it focuses around the Targaryen family who basically rule Westeros with a whole heap of dragons. Most of them are fully grown. Some of them are a lot bigger than others, and they've also got smaller ones as well. They've also got eggs, which they basically have in incubators or alongside the fire to hatch. So we don't have to wait a number of seasons to see fully grown dragons flying around, and I must say it is goddamn well awesome to see. Featuring an ensemble cast, the show portrays the beginning of the end of House Targaryen, the events leading up to and covering the Targaryen Civil War of Succession known as the Dance of the Dragons. House of the Dragon received a straight-to-series order in October 2019, with casting beginning in July 2020 and principal photography starting in April 2021 in the United Kingdom. So like any other Game of Thrones season, we've basically got a lot of backstabbing, a lot of politics, a lot of conniving characters, a lot of death, a lot of shock value as well. It's no different, probably more so than the previous style of Game of Thrones. So I'm going to be focusing on some of the main characters in the show. We've got Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, played by Millie Alcock and Emma Darcy. This is the main character in the show. So don't get your hopes up of liking a particular younger version of a character, because you might not see them in the coming episodes due to the timeline skipping in the show. It might be 5 or 10 years, who knows, just a heads up from that respects. So we've got Rhaenyra Targaryen. She's the only heir to the throne from King Viserys, played by Paddy Considine, I think that's how you say it. So Rhaenyra is basically brought up, there's no male heir to take over the throne. That's the whole thing around this, is that because she's the only heir to the throne, everyone's up in arms because the queen cannot simply just sit on the throne. It usually has to be a male. So that's the main focus around this particular season, who's going to sit on the throne. So we've got King Viserys. Paddy plays this character unbelievably. I've never seen somebody play a king or a character that deteriorates as much as this king does by the end of season 1. Fantastic acting, especially episode 9. Watch out for that one from Paddy. He absolutely nailed it. So the king is married to Queen Alicent Hightower, played by Olivia Cooke. She does an awesome role as well in this season. She's very captivating when she's on screen. A lot of politics around her. She's really invested in getting her children from the king to sit on the throne, who are basically the half-brothers of Rhaenyra Targaryen, if memory serves. So again, a lot of politics floating around that, and their kids do grow up in this season as well. It all comes to a climactic end in episode 9 and 10, especially 10. Watch out for that, it's quite brutal. But the guy who basically steals the show is Matt Smith, playing Daemon Targaryen. When Matt Smith is on the camera, the only way I can describe it is basically when you watch The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger playing the Joker on the camera, you are absolutely locked on and invested in this particular character. He plays Daemon extremely well. He's the Dark Prince. He is unpredictable. He is a dragon rider with a red dragon that has a cleft palate or something like that. It does a very strange whistle when it comes about. It's very ominous sounding when it comes around, but very cool dragon. His knowledge of dragons is amazing, especially in episode 10, where he starts to rattle off what dragons that they have and the clutches of eggs as well. But the performance by this guy is absolutely brilliant. Matt Smith has the most non-sounding Hollywood name that I think that I've heard. He is going to do amazing things in the near future. So they are just a couple of the main characters in the show. You've also got the Valerians as well, which are sea merchants, and they basically kicked off a lot of the dragon owning and riding. So it's an amazing set of characters, especially for a first season, and I'm very much locked in to see where we go with season 2. The series premiered on August the 21st, 2022, with the first season consisting of 10 episodes. 5 days after its premiere, the series was renewed for a second season. The first season received highly positive reviews, with praise towards its character development, writing and score, and performances, particularly by Considine, Smith, Darcy, Locke and Cook. However, the pacing, specifically of the time jumps and lighting of some of the scenes, were criticised. The series premiere was watched by over 10 million viewers across the linear channels and HBO Max on the first day. So let's go over the pros and cons of season 1 of House of the Dragon. So the pros: the cinematography in this season, everything looks immaculate, everything looks lived in, everything looks very authentic when you're watching it up on screen. The character development is amazing, the dialogue development outstanding. I love the history behind all of the dragons that we do see on the screen, from the sizes of them, the colours of them, where they basically reside in Westeros. Some are basically unclaimed, meaning that they are wild dragons as well. That does get a mention in it. The shock value is off its head in terms of stuff that you do see up on the screen from people getting absolutely hammered by each other. Again, that is very much part of the Game of Thrones world, but they really cranked it up to 11 on this particular season. So it all ended quite well. The length of the episodes are quite good. Most of them go between 45, 50 minutes, some of them over an hour as well, which is very good. So the cons, and I'm very much nitpicking here, with the timeline skipping, it can be a little bit hard to catch up on, and you start to question, say, okay, well, if 5 years have passed here, what, did nothing happen that was eventful in that particular 5 years that have passed, or 10 years, or whatever it is? It can be a little hard to keep up with sometimes. And again, as I mentioned, the characters that you do get locked onto, especially the younger versions of that particular character, they're gone in the next episode. So you have to deal and basically watch the older version of that particular character. Sometimes it's good, most of the time it is good, but sometimes, again, looking back again, that character was really cool. I like the actress or actor that played them, and now we have to deal with the older version of them. So it ended in a very bloody and drawn out episode, and it is very shocking when you do watch the last episode of what actually happens, how it kicks off with the civil war in the Targaryen family. Basically, who is going to sit on the Iron Throne again, like the first lot of Game of Thrones episodes, seasons, what have you. But this time around, we've got dragons everywhere. So it's an awesome, awesome show that HBO have come out with. I'm locked onto it. I'm invested in it. So make sure you do catch it. We have to probably wait a lot longer than a year apparently, then when we're going to see the next lot of the season 2 of House of the Dragon, so just be mindful of that. The original Game of Thrones was shot in the United Kingdom, Canada, Croatia, Iceland, Malta, Morocco and Spain. It premiered on HBO in the United States on April the 17th, 2011 and concluded on May 19th, 2019 with 73 episodes broadcasted over 8 seasons. The series received 59 Primetime Emmy Awards, the most by a drama series, including Outstanding Drama Series in 2015, 16, 2018 and 2019. So it will be interesting to see what House of the Dragon can accomplish. So the verdict. So now the show is done and dusted. It wasn't appearing on any VMAX screens or cinema screens, so I can't give it that #1 rating, but I will give it my #1 rating for a series, which is basically 110% watch this show. It's now on Foxtel here in Australia. You can binge watch the whole 10 episodes. In the past, I didn't have a streaming service with Game of Thrones on it. I had to wait until it came out on Blu-ray, so I had to duck and weave any spoilers. Somebody gave me a spoiler for the Red Wedding, so that was a disappointment back in the day, but you can definitely binge watch it now, and I would buy it on Blu-ray or 4K. It would look amazing on 4K, I feel. So thank you for tuning in to DMR for the podcast and the YouTube review for House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. Remember to subscribe to the podcast as well. And in relation to all that great Manscaped gear, you can log on to manscaped.com, use the promo code DEWY20, that's DEWY20, to receive 20% off the Performance Package 4.0. So again, thanks for tuning in, guys, and as always, I will catch you on the Menjay. So there we have it, season 1 of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. It rates very highly on Rotten Tomatoes with the critics in the early 90s and the audience score in the early 80s. So as I mentioned, be sure to check it out. Season 1 has now come to a conclusion. It was an amazing show, and I'm very much looking forward to the next one. Cheers.